Greetings and welcome to Chant a Day. We are here today on, what is it, Wednesday? Yeah, we are here on a Wednesday, the day of Rob. R-O-B, the day of Rob. Whew, and I'm hot already. I gotta bring the fan in here because it's hot already. It is hot already, everybody. But we've been blessed here in the Virgin Islands that the storms didn't get us. Not yet, at least. Whew. Okay. Whew. Just a little breeze. It's hot. Okay. Today's psalm, for those of you who like to listen to the psalm translated, the psalm today is 127. And this psalm is important. Psalm 127 is really important. And I'm going to tell you why. Because everyone wants a house, right? Everyone wants a house and everyone wants, their 40 acres and a mule. When President Abraham Lincoln signed the proclamation emancipating Africans from slavery, there was a clause in there that said 40 acres and a mule would be given. 40 acres and a mule will be given. It was, Abraham Lincoln was assassinated and that never happened. So because of that, Black people in America kind of started behind the 8 ball in terms of housing, economics, all of that. Yesterday's psalm I talked about stop being consumers and become producers. You're consuming the oppressor's scraps instead of producing something. So all the Black Americans in the U.S. come to the Virgin Islands and start a business. Start a business, seriously. Start a business. I'm sweating like crazy. Start a business, okay? And empower yourself. Stop I saw a post, somebody is selling food in Arkansas, and the girl said people rather spend money on Nike, you know, all these brand names. They would pay that, but they always want a discount off of her food, or they want her to give them you know, a break on something, whatever. And her thing is, you can pay Nike, you can pay all these people, but you can't pay me. So when we look at economic empowerment, Martin Luther King was on the precipice of that. And that's what the psalm is about today. Greetings of love, El Sue. Always thankful for the Most High. For that, I am grateful for your words. Thank you, El Sue. So, in our psalm today, Psalm 127, it's interesting because 27 is, every time I see that number, it's a sign of, for me, everything's going to be okay. 927. This is 127, right? Everything is going to be okay, and everything is in its time. And we have to leave people to their own understanding. You cannot force people to eat correctly. You can't force people to speak correctly. You can't force people to change their ways to be better, to get better results. They're not going to see that. So oftentimes you have to leave people where they are and leave them there. So in this Psalm 127, it talks about, unless righteousness builds the house, it's for nothing. So this is about building. This psalm is about building. When you are in a relationship with someone, you're building that relationship, but you're also building a future, and that future requires sacrifice. It requires you to change the way that you have spent money in the past to something new now in order to build a future, okay? In order to build a future. And sometimes people are in relationships with people because of what they can get. They have an agenda. I'm with you because you can give me this, or you have access to that. And it becomes where relationships sustain themselves off of that and not love anymore. There is love, but it's not in the way it was in the beginning. So when we look at this psalm, we're looking at the fact that you cannot build anything without righteousness, without the inner strength of sacrifice. You cannot build anything without sacrifice. So for example, you want a house. You're living in an apartment, but you want a house. What are you going to sacrifice for that house? You're going to maybe stop eating out. Maybe you might stop going to the casino and take that money and hold it so you can build it up for a down payment on a house. So when we're talking about building, we're talking about sacrifice. You have to sacrifice. You want those shiny sneakers, you're going to sacrifice that for something bigger, right? I tell people all the time, and I tell families, stop having a TV in your child's bedroom. Don't have a TV in their bedroom, okay? A TV shouldn't even be in the home, period. You should have books. However, TV can be used for educational purposes, and families should gather around the TV to see something educational and have a discussion, okay? It's interesting because Serena Williams' dad had them sit and watch Cinderella. And they watched it 2 times, 3 times, and they discussed it, right? They talked about it. This is an example of what I'm talking about. So when you're building anything, you have to sacrifice. When people are starting a relationship, one may be gone someplace and the other may have to stay and hold the fort, right? That's a sacrifice of not being together because you know you have a future together. So you're building for that. But sometimes people are not equipped with maturity to see the sacrifice needed for building something. They're not mature enough to see that. They can be 45 years old, they can be 50 years old, 60 years old, and they still don't see it. There are people who are 35 years old who can see it, and they are building through sacrifice. So that's what the psalm is about today, building through sacrifice. What are you going to sacrifice for your salvation? What is it? And the salvation is about the future, is about building to the future. What are you going to sacrifice? Oh, I'm going to sacrifice that cheeseburger from McDonald's and fries because I want a future where I'm not hooked up to a machine because of the foolishness I'm putting into my body. People are obese. They're morbidly obese. 300 pounds is the average weight for an American person. Yes, 300 pounds. So what is all of that? That's all the flesh of the earth that people are eating. Sacrifice. Building is about sacrifice. Remember, the stone the builder refused is going to be the head of the cornerstone. That same stone that was refused and rejected is going to be the head of the cornerstone. So when people leave you for someone else, or they met someone else and they're roaming, they don't value you anymore because you've cut off the gravy train. They can't access your money, your credit anymore. So they're going to jump to go to somebody else and access theirs. But guess what? You cannot do that and get away with it. You cannot. Because things are going to come back to you, what you do to people, especially people who are genuinely caring about you and loving you and wanting the best for you, and then you do that to the person. How are you going to find a bless through that? How are things going to come to you blessed? I just got a check. I just got a check from an organization where I did a workshop in March, and the check just came in. So my bless are not stopping. My bless are not stopping because I am good to people. Even when they're not to me, I'm still good to people. I'm still kind to people. I'm going to still help a person. But when you show me that you ignore me because you're guilty, you are guilty so to the point you can't talk to me, you can't look me in my face because you're guilty of what you've done. Right? But guess what? We have an advocate. We have a forgiveness, a mercifulness, a compassion. We have all of that. So when you do somebody wrong, seek for those things and ask for forgiveness for the person. Apologize. You know what I mean? Because that is sacrifice. Sacrifice feelings for doing the right thing. So unless righteousness builds, and righteousness is a sacrifice, you are sacrificing to build something, okay? Don't spend money on Christmas. Use that money to get out of an apartment. Duh! Use that money to get out of an apartment. Don't take money out of your 401k for Christmas. You are becoming a human battery because you're using your labor to work to get money to give back to the same system that is effing you over. Does that make sense? Because you want a moment of gratification to see twinkling lights and a tree that has a symbolism of evil? Wake up, people. Wake up. Wake up. This psalm is only 5 verses. 5 verses. And Psalm 127 is about sacrifice. What are you going to sacrifice for the things that you want in life? Remember, do what you have to do first before you do what you want to do later. You got to do what you have to do first. People are working 9-to-5 jobs and they're not happy. But you know why? Because when they get paid, they got to pay bills. Why? Because they're not sacrificing the sneakers. They're not sacrificing the PlayStation. They're not sacrificing all of the trappings of the world. Right? They're not. They buy into all of these traps and end up broke with no money. And then they got to ask their ex-girlfriend, their ex, to help pay their phone bill. You left me for someone else, and now you want to tap into my resources? You can't do that. You can't do that. So get off of my live. Stop sneaking and stalking me on my live to find out what's going on. Stop using people. Stop doing that. So Psalm 127 is powerful. I'm about to translate it. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in the sight of what is righteous, what is right. Verse 1, unless righteousness and sacrifice builds the house, those who build is laboring in vain. Yeah, when you go to work every day, right? And you laboring, and you come back to your house and your apartment, and it's nasty. Dishes are all over. People are sitting down playing games and PlayStation, but the house is a mess and dirty. That is not righteousness. That cannot build nothing. That can't build nothing. So you're laboring in vain. You're laboring in vain. You're laboring for nothing. So unless righteousness watches over the city, the people who are watching is going to stay awake for nothing. So what does this mean? This means that righteousness is hovering all the time. Righteousness is hovering all the time. Goodness and mercy is watching over. It's so, you think the police, do you think they're protected? They're there as a figurehead. But who is really protecting is what is right, that is righteousness. Okay? That is what is protecting. I have to get some noonie oil. There's mosquitoes. So when we talk about sacrifice, some people don't want to sacrifice. They don't want to wait. Right? Bob Marley says a song, I'm waiting in vain for your love. So so unless righteousness watches over the city, the watchmen stay awake in vain. Okay? Verse 2. Now verse 1 is like 1, 2, 3, 4 lines already in verse 1. And verse 1 doesn't have the word sacrifice. However, that is what is happening, because unless sacrifice is happening, Unless righteousness builds the house, those who build the house and labor in vain. Unless righteousness watches over the city, the watchmen stay awake in vain. Right? Staying awake is vain, that you rise up early and go late to rest, eating the bread of anxious toil. For righteousness gives to the beloved rest, sleep. Okay? If you're up tossing and turning and you're anxious, remember that you are going to be given the opportunity to rest. Look at this. This soursop is ready to open. And I have to open it. Then I have these are Cal Glow mangoes. My dad planted this mango tree. Beautiful mango. That's my breakfast. Okay, that's what I eat. I'm not going to eat any Piggly Wiggly bacon, any Piggly Wiggly sausage and eggs and cheese. That is not in my purview in my food that I eat. Okay, so people are going to come back to me one day and say, I should have listened to you about eating, because now I have this and now I have that and now I got to take that medication and this medication. And that's what's going to happen, because when you have somebody like me in your midst and you don't treat them or treat me or a person like me with utmost respect, that you can learn something from me, but you devalue me by not respecting me, you're not gonna fare well. Anyone that crosses me incorrectly or disrespects me or does something nefarious, I don't wish them well. I don't wish them bad. However, they're not going to fare well, because I've seen it happen. People who have done me wrong, I've seen the results, and it's not good. So I have known someone for 6 years and never would have dreamed they would have did me this. Never would have dreamed that. Never would have dreamed that. I think that their mom is rolling over in her grave, seeing how this person is treating me. And their sister who passed away is rolling in their grave. May righteousness rest their life and give them tranquility, because what they see going on or what they feel going on, they can feel my tears and my cry and my pain for what has happened and what this person has done, right? Even though I've given this person chance and chance and chance to be right, to sacrifice the things that they want so that they can have the things that they need, and showing them and teaching them and helping them to know about financial literacy. They don't want to hear it. They go off and do their own things, spend money, do this, do that. That's not a relationship. You don't do that in a relationship. So I look at this psalm as reflective of all of this that I've been going through, and that people in America, especially black people, have been going through, right? And whenever you're building anything, there has to be some sacrifice in that. Okay? When I was getting my PhD and I was in my dissertation, I had to sacrifice going out on the boat with my cousins so I could stay and finish this. That was a sacrifice that I had to make. I wanted to go party and go out there, but I had to sacrifice something for something bigger. Now I have a PhD and it's become a threat to people. People weaponize my degree against me. Yeah, they do. But if I was a white woman, that wouldn't happen. They wouldn't happen. So we are in a society where when you are a black person, especially a black woman, you carry the world. You carry so much with you. You have to sacrifice so much to get so little. So when we look at this psalm, it is so reflective of what is happening today in our society. So in verse 3, it talks about children, that children are a heritage from righteousness, from the Most High. However you want to have that relationship, that's your personal business. You want to say God, you want to call God, Lord, Jesus, Jehovah, Selassie the First, the Most High, the Triune God, the Trinity, however you want. That's your personal business. As long as you know that all of that means love. It means grace. It means kindness. It means humility. It means long suffering. It means forgiveness. We forgive people. I forgive people for hurting me. I forgive people for using me. I forgive people for all the things they've done to make me cry. I forgive people, and my heart is free. It's light. I have no burden to hold on to, because I know I did the best I could do in all relationships I was in. So my dad told me, have a breakup party before he passed. He said that to me when I told him that this person met someone else and broke my heart. So he said, you know what? That's good. Be happy. He said, be happy. Have a break. He said the words breakup party. He said people have breakup parties. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have a breakup party, and I'm going to close that part of my life. That person and how they dealt with me is going to come right back to them. That person is going to meet someone, and they're going to do that same thing to that person. And it's going to be sad, but you give and you get. What you give is what you're going to get. I'm a giving person. I'm generous. I give of my time, my money, my credit, my resources. I give. Right? I give. And that's why when I give with a full heart, with a good heart. I don't give thinking you owe me this back. No, I give because I see that you are needy. You may be poor and needy, and I'm here for the poor and needy, and I will give to the poor and needy. So, children are a heritage from righteousness. The fruit of the womb is a reward, right? 3 times I had a fruit in my womb. 3 times, the Trinity. 2 boys and a girl. And the last one, the girl, was at home, and I actually pulled her out of my own body. Yes, I did. I had a home birth, and that's another thing. When you're with a woman who had a home birth, you better respect that woman, because guess what? She gave life. Her and the Most High got together in that moment of that birthing, and they became one. They became one. So you cannot mess with a woman who's given a home birth in a negative way. You can't do that. It's just so karmic. Okay, when I had that home birth, November 4th, 1999, here on St. John in Coral Bay, where my grandfather, Victor Sewer, and his family lived in Coral Bay, okay, that's where I gave birth. And it was 3 o'clock in the morning. I squatted on first I went into the tub, but I couldn't move around. I needed a big pool. So I got out, laid on the bed, nothing happened. Instinctively, I got up on the side of the bed and I squatted on a wicker chair. I would never forget that. Squatted on a wicker chair and pushed. And my friend, who was a midwife, she came I called her. I don't want no doctors in hospital touching me. And I pulled. She said, there's the head. The shoulders were coming out, and I pulled my daughter out of my body. Yes, I did. And I put her on my chest. And she started crying, and I started nursing her right away. I didn't have to go to a hospital. I didn't have to go to get an epidural, nothing. It was all natural. It was the most beautiful experience in the world. I felt like I was being pulled to the earth. That's how powerful it was. And she laid with me. That moment, we were in the bed together with each other, nursing her, burping her, changing her. I did not want any Pampers. I wanted cloth diapers so she could feel the process of urinating and feel the process of, defecating. And she started in the potty at 1 year old. Maybe at 1.5, 2 years old, she was already out of the diapers and the cloth diapers and into underwear. Okay. That, remembering that moment just teared me up, because my dad is the one who brought me the cloth diapers with the pins. He was the one who went to Kmart and brought me that, knowing I didn't want any diaper, any Pampers. And remembering that is a good memory. I want to keep that memory because my dad was a powerful person. He was the most powerful man I ever met. And I could never find a man like him. So I veered off to find, well, not to find, but it was brought on me to be with a woman, and it didn't work out. And I realized, because I had a home birth, because I'm who I am, I'm a threat. I'm a big threat to people, because I threaten their comfortability. They're comfortable being oppressed. Just like Harriet Tubman wanted the enslaved Africans to go with her to be free in a different place. They wanted to stay there. They didn't want to leave. They wanted to stay, and they wanted to, they were comfortable in their oppression. So this is what happens to me in relationships. People are comfortable in their oppression. When I come into the scene, I'm like, whoa, no, we're coming out of this. We're going to go plant some food. We're going to go eat healthy. We're going to go walking. We're going to go exercise. We're going to go, go to the botanical garden and walk around the flowers. Nobody wanted to do that with me. So I became a gravy train for people to use me. And I gotta bring these. And that process strengthened me, because now I know what I need to know to move forward and not be used, right? I know now. So my dad said, be thankful. Don't be sad and cry because people left. Don't be happy for them that they're with their person. It may not be you, but they're with their person. And I'm happy people are happy. That's what I want, people to be happy. I prayed, I even communicated with the Most High that the person find somebody to make them happy, because they're not on my then we're not a team. We're not on the same, we're not even in the same book. We're not even on the same page. So I let that go. And I look at the fruit of the womb, my home birth, as something powerful that makes me the person I am and makes me a threat to people. People cannot, it's hard for people to talk to me. They're either intimidated, and I'm not going to dumb myself down for anything or anyone. Okay? I don't think I know everything, but I still am not going to dumb myself down to try to appease someone or make them feel comfortable that there's an intellectual maturity in the room. No, it's called intellectual maturity. And when you have intellectual maturity, you know how to regulate and you know how to emancipate yourself from mental slavery. Okay? So in verse 4, as arrows in the hand of a warrior are the children of one's youth. So those of you who have many children, 10 children, 7, 13 children, that's a heritage from righteousness. And it's a reward, because the fruit of the womb is a reward. When you are carrying a child inside of you, that is a fruit that you have been rewarded with. So that's why whenever I see or pass by a pregnant woman, I go like this. I take my hand to my heart and I acknowledge the person. I acknowledge them. And in that acknowledgement, I'm acknowledging the Creator who put that in there, who was part and parcel of that happening, right? So in verse 4, these are like arrows. Children are like arrows in the hand of a warrior. So when I have my summer students, that's what they are. They're like arrows in the hand of a warrior, and that's what I am. I'm not a warrior. I don't worry. I'm a overcomer. I'm a survivor. I'm not a victim. I'm not going to victimize myself. I'm going to empower myself to move forward in righteousness, mercy, love, and kindness. So, as arrows in the hand of a warrior are the children of one's youth. Blessed is the one who fills their quiver with children. So you are blessed when you're working with children, when you are around children, when you are protecting children, when you are caring for children. That's a blessed person. And somebody told me it takes a special person to do story time with children, because sometimes they're not listening. You got to get their attention back. It's hard. It's not easy to do story time, not just getting up and reading a story. So it's not a job for everybody. You have to have patience, and you have to be able to have eyes here, eyes all over. So anyone that works with children are blessed. I work with children, and I've worked with children from the time I was 8 years old, teaching my younger sister to read. I taught her to read, and I taught her to love books. And then I grew, and my teachers supported that love for learning that they saw. My second grade teacher, as a matter of fact, third grade teacher, I was so blessed to see her and to hold her, and she gave me some books that I could use, and it was just I had to tell her, thank you for inspiring me, thank you for being that person to light my way towards the journey that I'm on in terms of working with children. I had a beautiful childhood, and I want to give that to the children that I work with. So in this Psalm 127 verse 5, blessed is the one who fills themselves with children, supporting children and giving children a sense of themselves as powerful little people, that they can achieve whatever they set their minds to, giving them the resources and the tools they need to be successful. This is what I do. So the person who does this, who works with children, shall not be put to shame. They won't be shamed when they speak with the enemies in the gate. They won't be. And I saw this vision of this happening to me. I was somewhere in Africa, I don't know, I had the vision, and I think I was at an orphanage, because there was a lot of children around. They were running and they were playing and we were doing activities, and all of a sudden soldiers came with guns, and the children gathered around. This is a vision I had, okay? I saw this happening. The children gathered around me, and I just had my arms over them like this. And the soldiers came with guns, I guess to kill us or to capture us or whatever. And I just raised my hand up and I started speaking in an ancient language. I'm learning Amharic. But I started speaking in Amharic, and I started Soradokna, Sotamesgana, Haileai, Selassie the First, and I called that name. When I called that name, Selassie the First, the soldiers went and they took their guns, put them to their side, bowed down to me, and walked away. This was in the dream I had, and the children, we had to leave because they made it come back, and it was so surreal. So I wasn't put to shame, and I spoke to these people at the gate, in the gate. These are the enemies coming with guns. So Psalm 127 verse 5, I dropped the mic on that one, because I shall not be put to shame that work with children, that give children a place to go, that give children, the opportunity to flourish and to thrive. We have so many children that are being molested. Every 2 minutes, a child is being abused. That's not good statistics. So this psalm is for anybody who works with children and get frustrated or impatient. Please remember that you are blessed that you are working with children. You are blessed, and you shall not be put to shame. When you speak with the enemies in the gate, you're going to be safe. You're going to be safe. So this ends the psalm for today. I wanted to look at the word today is presence. Presence. I had to say this yesterday because my mind started wandering in the past about things and people. Okay? It's very traumatizing when you're with someone and they all of a sudden do this. So my mind was racing, and righteousness, I heard a voice that says, stay in the present. Stay in the moment. Stop going back into the past and pulling things out that you did do or didn't do or couldn't do or should have did or would have did. Stop it. Live in the present moment. The present moment. I'm here chanting the psalm. It's a beautiful day. Live in that moment. So, the word today is presence. Righteousness's presence goes with me during life's highs and lows. So, the presence of righteousness, mercy, kindness, love, compassion is going with you during things that are good up high and things that are low to the flow. You may be feeling low, you may be feeling down, but guess what? The presence of righteousness is there. It's there. So it speaks, no matter where I am or what I do, the presence of righteousness is within I. Okay? When wrongness comes at you, you're going to hit it with righteousness. Oh, why did you, I don't like that you did that. You're talking in a kind, righteous way. So that righteousness is within I and I empowerment and I comfort. Remember I told you, empower yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Okay? The presence of righteousness within I keeps I rooted in the awareness of I and I righteous gifts. I need not wonder whether I have what it takes to answer the call of I and I heart and move in direction of I and I dreams. Through the divine presence within, I am strong and imaginative. I have enthusiasm for what is before I and determination to see it through. So what is before I? Okay? I may have to end my workshop August 2nd or possibly July 26th, the last or Wednesday the 31st. So I'm thinking about doing that. But when I looked at the word today, I have to see this through, right? We're supposed to end August 16th. However, because of the sudden passing, this was very sudden. My dad just suddenly collapsed and passed away. How in the world? So I've kept the workshop going. However, I want to be able to end it early this summer because of what has happened. So I'm meeting with my team to discuss that, and we're going to push the funding to next year and do it full session. So in the presence of righteousness is also with me in I and I lower periods. And the lower period in my life right now is my dad's sudden passing. When I am in need of comfort, I lean into the presence of righteousness and feel enfolded in love and tranquility. Okay? Righteousness is a comfort. Forgiveness is a comfort. I and I assurance that when the world feels depressive or oppressive, the divine light shines within. So whenever you're feeling oppressed, depressed, or feelings of despair, know that that divine light that is within you is going to light your way out of the depressive, oppressive, down, low situation. Okay? It's going to lift you up higher and higher and higher till nothing negative can touch you. It's going to be around, but it cannot penetrate you at all. So rest in that. Rest in the present moment. And that righteousness's presence goes before you, with you, during the times when you may be feeling great or may be feeling low. This word today is very important. It really is mirroring our psalm today about sacrifice and sacrificing to build the house, sacrificing to build a business, sacrificing to build generational wealth, sacrificing to build, a future where you're not hooked up to machines at a hospital, suffering in pain. So sacrifice is important. my sister says, you don't eat anything. What do you eat? I eat fruits. I eat what's grown around me. That's what I eat. And whenever I eat other stuff that's not what I'm supposed to eat, it shows. Okay? So we see the word today, presence. Psalm 139 verse 8 is supporting the word presence. When I ascend to heaven, you are there. When I make my bed here on this earth, you are there. So the presence of righteousness is there, whether you are around wicked folks, whether you are in the concrete jungle of Babylon, America. Righteousness is there because it dwells within you. It dwells within you, you, and you. Right? You are not of this world. Right? The world does not love righteousness. The world is about wrongness, wickedness, and lies. So we're not here to fight. I'm not here to fight against you. I'm not here to fight against my ex, fiance. I'm not here to fight against her new person. I'm not here to fight against anyone. I'm here to fight against the powers and principalities that are oppressing the people of this earth. That's what I'm here to fight against. I'm here to support children and families, their basic needs. Okay? I don't have any beef with anybody. I don't even eat beef. You can go eat that Porter Steakhouse, the Porter steak that you all eat. Go ahead and eat that meat. Slap that meat up, beat your meat up, whatever you want to do with the meat. I'm not going to do it. It's not healthy. It's poison. The world is poisoning people right now with food. You better check yourself before you wreck yourself out there. And stop following folks just because you don't want to be alone. Stop following and stop doing that because you don't want to be alone. I did that. I didn't want to be alone and ended up being used and abused and taken for granted every single day. So let's look at what the verse of the day is real quick. The verse of the day. It's 7 o'clock already. Almost. The verse of the day. Oh, I love it. Romans chapter 1 verse 16. For I am not ashamed of the truth, because the truth and righteousness is the power of the Most High, that is righteousness, that brings a future to everyone that knows righteousness, mercy, forgiveness, and kindness, first to the Jew, then to the Gentile. And I'll explain the Jew and the Gentile in another video, or I think I must have did that already. This is coming from Romans chapter 1 verse 16. Don't be ashamed, and this is what the psalm is talking about. You're not going to be ashamed of the truth, of working with children, of taking care of children and being their support. So that is our verse today, coming from Romans chapter 1 verse 16. Romans chapter 8 verse 28, all things are working for your good. People leave you, they may leave you, they may, cheat on you, they may lie on you, they may try to convince themselves that you did wrong to them. But righteousness is always going to be there, and there is no shame in righteousness, none whatsoever. So righteousness is I and I comfort, I and I assurance that when the world feels depressive, the divine light shines within I. So I am thankful for this day, for this psalm, and for you all tuning in. Thank you so much for listening to Chant the Psalm a Day. And have a blessed day, everyone. Have a blessed day. We're going to steady chant the psalm. We're going to steady chant the psalm all day. We're going to take this in our day with us. Thank you for joining.